Hello, everybody. Terry here. We are going to get started here in just about 2 minutes. I am now just getting everything kind of organized. Um, let's get that started. And I will share the presentation here in just 1 second. All right, everybody, how's everybody doing? I am just, if you can, on the Q&A. If somebody could just put that you can hear me, and we will get started right now. So if you want on the Q&A, just click on that button and just pop something either in the chat and or the Q&A. And that way I'll know that everything is working and great. Okay. All right. So let's get started. This presentation is about 45 minutes long. For those of you that know me, I've been working with educators and firefighters, teachers for a little over 2 decades, going on three. So I've got some background in helping people, um, look at different obstacles when you get ready to retire, some of the things to look out for. And I'm assuming that most of you are not quite yet retired. So you still have time to make changes in the event you decide that you need to make changes. So let's go ahead and jump in here. I like polling everybody, and today 45% of the folks are in the pension plan and 55% are on the investment plan. This is important because it helps me tailor the presentation to those that are attending. And I believe tonight we have about 35 people in attendance. So do me a favor. And if you do have questions, feel free to jump over to the Q&A and put those in as we go, and I will try to answer questions as we go. Again, 45 minutes long. I do have a few minutes at the end, but in order for me to answer questions on the fly or on a particular subject, it's always best to just kind of put those in as we go. All right. So a couple disclosures. One, again, my name is Terry Martine. I am an investment advisor. I do not work for Florida Retirement System. I am independent. Secondly, I am not an attorney and I am not a CPA. We'll talk a little bit about that stuff, but tonight's more along the lines of what you need to do in order to prepare for retirement. For those of you who have attended some of my prior meetings, about half of people have, you know that you don't need to take notes tonight because in about an hour after I do this presentation, I will upload it to YouTube and you can watch it again if there's a particular subject that you want to review. All right, so 5 key retirement issues for educators. I might want to point that out. Tonight is specifically for educators. All right. It's not for firefighters and police officers tonight. It is specifically designed for educators tonight. First retirement issue is your pension benefits, whether or not it's investment or the pension plan. Health insurance, that's a big one. By the way, I'll go through the top five here, but just remember that these five are the most important for you because you'll have to make life decisions, which means that you'll have to make a decision that's going to carry you through the rest of your retirement. So you have to get this right. So I do appreciate you being on the call. For those of you who do jump on these calls, let me step back. So I read a interesting fact here, I don't know, a couple of years ago now, but people spend more time planning a 1 week vacation, 1 week vacation, spend more time than they do on their retirement. That vacation is lasting 1 week. Your retirement's going to last you 20 to 40 years. Again, I can congratulate you for spending the time. I'm sure this isn't the only workshop that you go to, but these are important topics for you to get your ducks in a row because a lot of these decisions are one-time decisions. All right. Again, pension benefits, we'll talk about a little about that. Health insurance, Social Security. Social Security is a big one. That is typically going to be about 60% of your retirement income. By and large, about 60%, some a little more, some a little less. Retirement savings, these are your 403Bs if you are on the pension plan, IRAs, if you work to private industry, 401Ks, things like that. And I don't believe there's any 457s. I believe it's just 403Bs through FRS with educators. All right. So that's a big one. And then lifestyle changes. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but it's interesting because by and large, most of you on this call have worked for 30 plus years. And it is tough those first week or two when you retire because you are so accustomed to getting up early, going to school, you're in a routine. Most of you are routine type people, even if you thought you weren't. You've been doing this year after year after year. So lifestyle changes. It can affect you in a good way because it gives you a lot of free time. It can affect you in a bad way because you get a lot of free time. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. We'll address a little bit about that and some of the things you want to do or plan to do when you retire. Number one goal when you retire, and this is surveys that go back 50 plus years. What's the number one concern for most retirees? And it's running out of money. And let me stress this, that if you are on the investment plan, you can, unless you properly prepare, run out of money. So it's super important for those of you that are on the investment plan because you're going to get paid that money as a lump sum. You do get full control over it, so that's a plus, but you have to be extra careful because if you are taking money out, you run the risk if you lose money in the account when you first retire, and I'll show you this for running out of money. So that's not good. It's one thing if you want to go live with your kids as you get older because you want to. It's not a good situation if your kids have to take you in because you have run out of money, right? Dealing with 1,000 or two of clients, it is definitely not a good situation, including long-term care, which I'll just touch on. Some people like it, some people don't. All right, so pension benefits. I always put this slide up because I love it. And for those of you who have joined in prior workshops know that you probably hate it because this shows you how much you get on the investment plan. Everybody, no matter who you are, whether you're talking about judges, anybody in the Florida retirement system pays 3%. Legislators, governors, lieutenant governors, anybody and everybody that's in FRS gets 3% taken out of your pay that goes into your pension. What everybody, you'll notice here, if you pull it, by the way, this comes from the website, FRS's website. This isn't something that I decided to throw in at the last minute. But you'll notice that educators, which you fall into this regular class, are the lowest paid out of everybody in the state. And I don't mean to say that you're underpaid, overpaid, any of that. But I will say that it is important to have along the, throughout the last, 15, 20 years to put some money aside because You can't just live on your pension. Your pension does help out quite a bit. That and Social Security, for by and large, 80% of people are getting about, 80% of what they were making prior to retiring. Some people get more, and I'll share with you that. But if you're on the investment plan, you are only getting 8.3% of your salary put into your retirement plan. If you are on the pension plan, remember, investment you get 100% control of, pension plan you get paid for life, and you've got different options, but suffice it to say you get 13 and a half. So there's a 5% gap between the amount that the pension plan folks are getting and the amount that you're getting on the investment plan. All right. There's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing on the websites that say why you get one or the over the other. But you are reliant, though, on the FRS pension plan. You're reliant on the state of Florida to keep continually making payments to you. And by the way, Florida is in good shape when you compare it to all other states in the union. Florida is one of the best. So chances are down the road, they are not going to run out of money. But had a guy in Illinois that his municipality that he had worked for when he turned 80 years old cut his pension in half. The city simply said, we don't have the money. You're 80 years old. And his pension got cut in half. So you got pros and cons here to everything, every decision you make. The pro here is that on the investment plan, you're going to earn probably more over time. General numbers, you're going to earn a little bit more over time. But conversely, on the pension plan, you've got guaranteed payment for life. So, anyhow, some of the things to look out for. I always love looking at some of these things. If you're an elected official here in the state of Florida, you really hit the gravy train. 60% of your salary goes in your pension account. That's not that's not bad. By the way, that's not coming out of your salary. That's 60 or basically 60%, 61%. It's being thrown into an account for you when you go to retire. So don't feel bad for judges and these other folks as far as pay goes. All right, enough about that. The investment funds that you can invest in, again, this is on the investment plan. So here's a quick little snapshot, and I just did the retirement date funds. I would say the majority of folks I talk to use these funds. And essentially, if you're going to retire in 2040, you pick the 2040. And as it gets closer, meaning that you pick the date that you think you're going to retire. If it's 2020, um, you just have more conservative investments in the portfolio. And if you said 2065, you'll have more aggressive, and it goes up from there. So I don't want to get too bogged down with this because I'm trying to keep on track. But again, please throw questions in there as I get to them or as you want, and I'll try to stop and answer questions. All right. So I'm briefly going to go through here. These are some of the things that you are going to get in retirement. Social Security, it's 50 to 80% of what you need to live on or what you're going to get. You may need more or less, but that's what you'll get. Your pension, again, if you're in the pension plan, 25 to 50% more. Savings, this is your 403Bs, IRAs, things that you've put aside. Again, it can come up to 20, 30%. We have worked with folks that are making more when they retire. I worked with one lady, and she just didn't realize that she was good about saving. But when we looked at her pension plus her Social Security, plus turned on income and some of her 403Bs, she ended up making about 10, 15% more retired. And she kept asking me every time I meet with her, she goes, this can't be right. I can't be making more money staying home than working. And it happens. It happens. 20% of the folks, you end up making more money. Part-time work, I will say this, it is a big transition from when you're working full-time and now you have nothing to do. Technically, you don't have anything to do. You may have a lot of life things to do, but as far as getting paid, a lot of folks go back and work part-time in that transition, especially if you are going to be retiring before age 65. Healthcare is a big issue. I'll touch on this a little later, But if you are going to be paying for healthcare, um, you are going to be paying about $1,500 to $2,500 a month for healthcare if you go out prior to age 65. And if you get it through work, you will be paying roughly, it's about $650. Again, this is for United Healthcare, and I'm talking about here in Palm Beach County. You might have Cigna or one of the others in whatever district you're in, but it's $650. And then if you are married and you're having a family plan, suppose your husband or wife, you're covering them as well. It is about $1,300, $1,400 a month. So plus you have deductibles. So it is expensive. That's the one little gotcha if you want to retire early. The and Again, I have some little more to talk about there. Rental income, there's quite a few people that have second homes. I will say that it is a challenge for folks to have a second home. It's expensive, and educators don't get paid that much money unless you have a wealthy spouse or something to afford a second home. Um, Especially 20, 30 years ago. So anyhow, that is, some people do. I'm just saying that it is a source of income when you retire. All right, so here's some of the investment options. Again, we'll go into this a little bit more, but you can either have growth and liquidity. You only have three options when it comes to investments. Anything you can buy, you are going to be putting it in one of these three buckets. And really, you need all three in a proper retirement plan in order for you to grow, because you need it to grow over time and to also keep it safe, right? So growth and liquid, think about stocks. Protected and liquid, you can think about CDs, or some of the other variations of CDs, but it's protected and it is liquid, and bonds, things like that. Um, it is somewhat protected and it is liquid, but you do give up something if you go to sell it. In CDs, you give up your interest. In bonds, if the market's down, you might sell at a little bit of a loss. Um, And then you have protected and growth, and these are structured products. Think of some of you are using annuities in your 403(b)s. Think about those where if the market goes up, you participate in the upside of the market, but you don't participate in the downside. There's also structured notes where you are protected from the downside to a certain point. Structured notes are right now anywhere from 6 to 13% interest monthly. So again, proper development or proper plan helps you out greatly. And diversification is the only free lunch that you'll ever get when it comes to retirement. Making sure you have your eggs essentially in different baskets. I know it sounds cliche to use that term, but I had one lady that I worked with at Lucent Technologies back in the day when it was AT&T, and she put all of her 401(k) in Lucent stock. And this is before the dot-com busted. I don't know if you ever followed that or if you ever were looking at AT&T or Lucent stock, but it essentially went from $2 up to 80 and went right back down to around $2, $3. So she went back to work. She had probably $3 million when Lucent went up, but she did not diversify. She had all her eggs in one basket. I'll never forget that. And the fact that she had to go back to work after she retired because she had lost all of her 401(k). Anyhow, don't do that, please. Diversify. Here's a quick little um, I like this chart. And essentially, I know it's a very busy chart. Think of it this way. On the left-hand side, it shows you that you get 6% return, but the market goes up when you first retire. All right, that's on the left. On the right, you average 6%, but the market has gone down the first couple of years you retired. We don't know if the market's going to go up the year that you retire. We also don't know if it's going to go down. All right. I wish we all knew we could make it super easy on everybody, but this person had money out to year 36. This person had run out of money in 23 years. And again, both taking $50,000 out per year and going up with cost of inflation, cost of living, basically. Um, this is what you need to be worried about. This little twist in your fate can be detrimental to where you run out of money. This is probably the single biggest problem of, again, overly aggressively investing in the market when you're about ready to retire. All right. So, again, this is an illustration, but this is what can happen if you retire in a bad market. We run this in software, and you'll see out of 95, I'm sorry, out of 1,000 different trials, 9% of them were successful, meaning that you somehow managed to not outlive your money 9% of the time. I'll show you what happens if we just make a couple of little tweaks to it to where it will last a lifetime. All right, so healthcare. Let's jump over to healthcare. Healthcare, let's talk about the health insurance subsidy. Health insurance subsidy is something that you will get, and you get $7.50. Actually, let me follow this. I love going on tangents, but I don't want to run out of time. Health insurance subsidy, you've got to be 62 in order to collect. Let's say that you work 30 years, excuse me, for the district. You're entitled to $225 a month to help offset your healthcare costs. That's what this money is for. By the way, it's not allocated to anything. You could take the money and go buy cigarettes with it. It doesn't matter. You're just going to get paid $225 a month if you've had 30 years in service. It's $7.50 per year that you worked for the district. Now, you have to be 62 collect. I just had a lady retire at 60, and she asked me, she goes, well, am I going to get the health insurance subsidy? Because my friend told me I'd be getting that. I said, you're not going to get it until you're 62. She goes, well, my friend's getting it. Well, as it turns out, her friend was 65. Her friend is getting the health insurance subsidy, but you will not get it until you are 62. So don't count on this if you're one of those folks that are looking to retire early, and there's quite a few that are. This is one of the drawbacks to retiring early through the district is the 62. Now, you can keep your existing insurance. I touched on this. COBRA does not apply. And COBRA is if you worked for the private industry and you decided to leave the company and go somewhere else, they have to give you or provide you COBRA. And COBRA is just a fancy acronym for extended healthcare coverage. We can make this super simple. Extended healthcare coverage. They have to offer it to you for up to 18 months. Month 19, they can drop you, but COBRA, so you can keep your existing healthcare coverage. Even if you retired at age 56, you still can continue your healthcare coverage, whatever you have now. Again, in Palm Beach County here, it's United Healthcare. It's not cheap. It's about $650 a month. But if you went into the private sector, assuming you're not getting Obamacare or some sort of subsidized, it can run you $1,500 to $2,000 a month for a single person because you're older. They assume that you're going to need more healthcare. Not to mention, you also will have deductibles. All right. So healthcare coverage is expensive no matter which way even if you get Medicare, which I have a slide on, it is still fairly expensive. All right. So I talked a little about United Healthcare. Now, when you turn 65, there's two plans that you need to know about. One is called an Advantage plan. Think of an Advantage plan as a Chinese buffet. All right. It includes everything. You like steak, you like chicken, you like sushi, you like peas, you like corn, you like anything under the sun. It's there for you. You just pick what you want. Okay. That is an Advantage plan. It also includes vision and dental. Most do, not all. but I'm just giving broad strokes here so you know the difference. Advantage plans are very useful if your budget does not support you paying a lot for Medicare. So, what does that mean? Medicare Part A, you apply for it when you turn 65. It is free. There is no downside to applying for Medicare when you turn 65. Please do that. Uh, Occasionally, I'll run into somebody that doesn't, and it's a problem because Medicare will they basically charge you a fee because you didn't sign up when you should. Part A, free, sign up, 65, no issue. Part B, now you pay for Part B. This year, 2025, if you're watching, 2025, it is $185 a month. And that is coverage that will cover 80% of your medical bills. 80%. Okay. Um, that's cheap coverage. So $185 for 80% of your medical bills. So you say, how do I pay for that other 20%? That other 20% again comes down to either an Advantage plan or traditional Medicare. So, what is the difference between Advantage and traditional? Again, Advantage plans generally cover everything. It is like an HMO, but here's the twist. You primarily have to go to your doctors that are in plan. Think of it as an HMO. Again, there are ones that aren't like this, but by and large, you have to go to their doctors. So if you get cancer, and let's say you want to go to New York, go to Sloan Kettering, if it is out of network, you can do that. But I hope you've got a lot of money because they are only going to pay a portion of it. You're on your own for the rest. All right. The other thing too is that they dictate when you get healthcare plans. So let's say that your hip hurts and it's been hurting now for 2 years, and they say, well, all right, we need you to go to therapy. All right, now we need to do this. Now you need to go and do water aerobics. They will tell you what you need to do. If you have traditional Medicare, you typically will get these kind of surgeries quicker. Again, by and large, I hate saying things universally because sometimes things pop up, but that's one of the issues with getting Advantage plans versus traditional Medicare. All right, Advantage plans on the cost side, though, Medicare Part B, you're going to pay for regardless of either plan. Sometimes it gets reimbursed with the Advantage plan, but again, I don't want to get too far astray. So figure out it's $185. If you do traditional Medicare, you're going to need a part. Uh, when you do Advantage plans, it's Part A, Part B. When you get traditional Medicare, it is Plan. And right now, today, the one of the best plans is Plan G. That's probably where 99% of the people end up. Plan G for South Florida is some of the most expensive Medicare costs in the country, only because we have so many. It's done by zip code. The pricing is done by zip code. And we have so many people that are elder here that it is one of the most costly. Miami-Dade, for those of you in Miami-Dade, you are probably at the top. Broward, certainly you're near the top. Palm Beach County, you're near the top. So it is expensive if you are in one of those three districts. It's just the way the pricing goes. And you can expect to pay $250, $260 a month. Women get different pricing than men. And if you're a smoker, they're going to penalize you too. It's another, 15, 20% if you're a smoker. All right, so that's my big hurrah. I do have one workshop that is solely on Medicare. So if you ever want to see those, go to our YouTube channel, and it's much more of a deep dive. It's about an hour and 10 minutes into Medicare and Medicare coverage. And if you got questions, you can always reach out to me. All right, so that's healthcare, retirement savings. Let me back up here. So retirement savings is going to be your 403Bs. And at this point, you really can't do much to affect how much you're going to have because um, if you're going to retire in 2, 3 years, if you're in the if you're thinking about doing drop, Doing drop helps you. And again, this is general information. Please don't hold me to this. But if you've got 25 years in, it could be a good thing for you to do drop because your increases in your pension aren't going to be that much. Now, that being said, when you enter drop, it does freeze your retirement benefit. That's why when you get it, you'll see how much you're going to get at the end of year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to year 8. All right. So for those of you who want to do it, you can. You are officially retired in the district's eyes. So your retirement benefits are locked in at that point. All right. Now, again, 403Bs, you've got a couple of different types. Um, I won't get too much in it, but most of them are tax sheltered annuities. And I'd say probably 2/3 are going to be some variation of annuity, whether it's a variable annuity or fixed index annuity. And then you'll have some of the others that are in, like Jay Buttleman here in Palm Beach County, that are going to be in mutual fund type investments. Um, both have their pros and cons, and I'm not going to get into that, but suffice it to say, hopefully you've been able to put, excuse me, some money aside for when you retire. All right, Social Security. I have a whole workshop on this as well for 1 hour. And this is what I'll say about Social Security. Social Security, you need to maximize your benefit. All right. You need to take a little bit of time and figure out how you can maximize your benefit. If you're a single, it's a little easier because you're only looking at your benefit and whether or not, or look at what year you want to take your benefit. Now, for every year that you wait, you'll get 8% more. That is if you're a single. So if you do it at 62, you'll take a 25% haircut, or you won't get 25% as much. And if you wait to age 70, you'll get 135-ish percent of what your Social Security benefit would be. And talk to your advisor or talk to us, because if you decide, we have software, and I'm going to show you that will say, you know what, if you postpone getting Social Security, it can help your longevity in retirement and take some of the burden off of your own assets because your Social Security will be more. And again, it is locked in for life. So the other thing too is if you are married, it's important to coordinate the benefits. All right. You and your spouse need to figure out when one of you should start, and maybe you postpone another benefit. There is software that will give you a clear-cut idea of when to start Social Security. And we do offer for that to anybody who has attended one of our workshops. You just let us know, and my staff or I will run that for you. Um, keep in mind, Social Security does run out of money technically in 2035. Now, 3 million more people were just added to Social Security that did not get it because of government workers, basically postal workers, things like that. So 3 million more people were just added to Social Security. So let's see. We have something that's running out of money on its own. And then we just add 3 million more people to something that's running out of money. Is that in your best interest? Probably not. All right. So the numbers come up in November of 2025 as to what that did. It's obviously going to be shorter. There's a couple of ways they're going to try to get around it, but it does run out of money, and it's only 85% funded come 2036. All right. So they've got years. They got a couple of years here before it does officially run out of money. But what are they going to do? They're going to cut benefits. Are they going to increase retirement age? Are they going to make everybody pay in more? All I can say is stay tuned. They have to fix it, and they're working on it. If they reduce everybody's benefit, they're going to get thrown out on their ear as far as politicians go, and they probably don't want that. So um, I could just see people voting for somebody that just cut their benefit. That, and I'm being facetious. That'll never happen. All right, so 68 million people are getting Social Security as of August 2024. They just added 3 million more people to that. And the average benefit is $1,783. Um, if you come to our Social Security workshop, I do a little bit deeper dive on this, but I'm sure you get the point. If you do decide to take advantage of some of the information that we give you for free, and you want a Social Security analysis from us, it will tell you when the best time is for you to start your benefit. It'll also coordinate spousal benefits, or if you're divorced, and if you are a widow or widower, we will show you kind of how to get the best and most out of Social Security. By the way, it's one of these things that once you set it, you've got 365 days to change it. But once you decide and you sign up for it, you can't go back. There's no do-overs. I mean, you could in theory, but you got to pay it all back. And I have yet, out of working 20 plus years doing this, have somebody pay it back. All right. So Social Security is super important because once you decide on what you're going to do, you have to stick with it. Coordinate survivors benefits. Again, we talked a little about that. And here's kind of a quick illustration on somebody that we did one for. And it tells you if you took it early, if you took it late, and it kind of tells you when the best time is for you to start your benefit. Again, this is a free resource. If you want to take advantage of that, we will explain how to do that at the end. Lifestyle changes. I touched a little bit on this one, and this is, again, you've worked your 20, 30. By the way, so I've had one person that had worked 43 years or so, 44 years in the district. That's a long time. She retired, decided that she was going to spend time with her husband. Husband passed away within a year, and she went back and started working for the district again. So, um, lifestyle changes. I just say that because on the next slide, on my final thoughts, um, the lifestyle changes also plays into this. You need to figure out what you want to do. All right. You got retirement coming up. You don't want to retire too early, but you don't want to retire too late either. Right. So the thing is, what do you want to do when you retire? Get the trips, get the bucket list things that you want to do with you, or maybe you and your friends or your family, and do that. We, like I said, but I have clients that been with me a long time, and the issue is when you get older, you either don't want to go do them because your health is impaired, or you simply can't do it. I've got a client that just went to Europe, and she fell down a couple times because if you go to Europe, and for those of you who have gone to Europe, you'll know this as soon as I say this one word, and that is if you're having trouble or mobility issues, cobblestones. Most of Europe uses rocks, round rocks, and they're very difficult and provide stability issues. And they're not really walker friendly and all that kind of stuff. So anyhow, my point is, if you're gonna do things, put it in your life goals, and try to take care of some of that stuff, right? You can't take it with you, but at the same time, you don't want to run out. So there's a mix there. The other thing too is that when you retire, you need to take care of all your credit card debt. Whatever you have in credit card debt, you need to immediately knock out. If your credit card debt, most credit cards now are in the 20s, up to 30% interest rates. And that's too much of a burden on your retirement. If you've accrued credit card debt, you absolutely, and this is one of the absolutes, need to try to get that taken care of when you retire. Or my suggestion is if you do have credit card debt, you need to take some money out of your 403Bs, out of your investment plan. You need to knock that out. You are going to pay more in taxes, but this will end up eating into your retirement more so than anything else. And that's paying interest on credit cards. All right. Credit cards are for emergencies, especially once you retire. Right. Kind of preaching to the choir. Hopefully, most of you have put some money aside. Now, final thoughts. I love this. This seems to be on everybody's bucket list, and that is hit the cruises. I don't know. I'd say at least half the people want to go on cruises when they retire, which is great. Everything's on board, and you get to eat, pretty good food and spend time. And I go on cruises too with my family, and I've got two kids um, in school here in Palm Beach County. All right. So again, you want to maximize income. Circling back around, these are the final thoughts. Again, we made a couple of twists to somebody's portfolio, and you can see that out of 1,000 different trials, if the market is good or bad, you want to make sure that you don't run out of money. This again is a free resource. If you decide to meet with us, we will do that for you. And it's good for you to get an idea. You say, okay, well, if my budget is X, my income is X, my expenditures are Y, what does it look like? How much of my investments do I need? These are all the kind of things that you can do a couple years in advance to plan and go ahead and put a plan. Most advisors are going to have that. Again, if you don't have an advisor that has helped you or you're kind of do it yourself, we will offer that to you. Obviously, it's no obligation. You don't have to become a client, but we do that obviously to try to entice you to use this for financial services. But that is something that we'll do for you for free. All right. Early retiring. And I've got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to talk fast. I know I'm coming up against a hard stop for me today, only because my son is wrestling, and I got to leave at 5 o'clock to get him on time because a coach doesn't like it when I'm late and he has to stay with my son and babysit him. So yes, everybody's got a life outside of work, and I'm one of them. All right. So what do you miss out on in retirement? A lot of folks come to me, and I have another video just on how to retire early. If you're on the pension plan, you miss out of 1 year of the money going into the pension plan. Obviously, 1 year of the investment plan. Um, but on the pension plan, if you retire 1 year early, it equals about $100 a month in your pension. So let's say your pension is $2,200 a month, and you say, Terry, what is it going to look like? My pension going to look like if I retire a year early? Instead of $2,200, it would roughly be $2,100. All right. I go into the math if you want to look and see. Um, it's not for the faint of heart because I go in a deep dive on how exactly retiring early affects you. But it's about $100 a month in your pension. If you are on the investment plan, it's just the 3% plus the 8% that they put in on top. Um, but if you do retire early on the pension plan and you're in drop, remember you're going to just get paid your pension instead of it going into the drop plan. You're just going to be getting paid. So it really doesn't affect you too much if you're on drop and you decide to retire a year early. Um, it's about $7,500 again if you are on the investment plan. Again, this is general. This is just for illustration. If the market went up, then you would be out the income on that, but you have to invest it anyhow. So drop again, you're missing out on that. And you're paying for your medical if you are under age 65. So remember, there's a couple of tricks there for the medical. Definitely, if you are under 62, you've got to be careful because you won't get the stipend for healthcare. Um, this is a income plan that, again, this is one of the benefits if you decide to come see us. We'll talk a little bit about what your tax bracket's going to be if we can manipulate this to lower your taxes. Social Security may or may not be taxed. They keep talking about some plans to reduce the taxes on it so it's tax free. I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. Probably won't know until Trump's in office for a couple months. But that is one of the things he kind of ran on. Whether or not it comes up, we'll wait to see. And income plans, we also, for those of you who have a sizable amount in 403Bs, tax shelter annuities, things like that on the investment plan side as well, We look at being tax efficient. One of the things that commonly gets overlooked is that financial advisors are great about telling you how you should be increasing your um, how they can increase your account balance, but they're not so good at telling you how to also save money in taxes. So we kind of take an approach that for every dollar we save you in taxes, that's another dollar you could spend on retirement. So we do take an active approach. This is part of our planning, is to make sure that we are as efficient as we can be when it comes to taxes. And again, this is just one page out of the report that we share with you. All right. So here's some of the things we do. Again, if we can show you how to increase Social Security, save you money in taxes, make sure you don't run out of money, would it be worth it to meet us? And we know that some people meet with us and they turn around and either do it themselves, which is good, or they show their current advisor, some of the things we show them. All I can say is that we're offering it to you for free with no obligation. Um, so I'll show you how to get that here in 1 second. But learn from the past, think about the future. Learn from the past is really take somebody's advice that has helped 1,000 people retire from FRS. There are certain things that you can do to help offset the risk in retirement. Think about your future. Make sure you plan some things. Don't just sit around the house. Get some activities, get some hobbies, get some of the things that you wanted to do and either didn't have the time to do. Volunteer. Stay active. Please stay active. That's one of the big things when you retire. But live in the now. Again, take advantage of some things. Um, Hopefully, this was advantageous for everybody. I know I didn't get to a lot of questions because we are officially at kind of the cutoff. What I will say is that everybody, as soon as I hit end meeting, you're going to get an email. The email is going to have the link to our workshop where you can meet with us for 45 minutes. You'll see our calendar and we will help you in any way. If you want Social Security planning, we'll help you. Income planning, Roth conversions, whatever you need help with, we are here as a resource for you. Thanks again for attending. We will do another Social Security analysis. Oh yeah, and one important announcement is that we do have the estate planning attorney meeting with us coming up soon. This one's important and it generally books up. We only have 100 slots and that one will get full. My wish for you or hope for you is that if it does come out and you can't attend it live, make sure you sign up for it so that you will get the link to the replay. That one helps. That one's a good one. That one really is a good one. And we'll bring on an attorney to help everybody walk through some of the things to look out for here in the state of Florida. All right. So it's very specific to Florida. Some of the things you can do, some of the changes in estate plans, but it's a great, great workshop. I get tons of feedback on that it's a good workshop. I will say the guy talks a little long. He's kind of like me, getting stories in there and things, but hopefully you find it informational. And everybody needs to put some sort of estate plan together, whether it's a will, living trust, you name it, surrogate. What happens to you if you get sick and somebody needs to pay your bills? Healthcare surrogate, do you stay on life support? All this kind of stuff he's going to cover and more. But stay tuned for that and make sure you sign up for it as soon as it comes out. Again, it does book up and I won't be able to add anybody once it hits 100. All right. Thank you, everybody. I know I didn't get to questions. I feel bad about that, but shoot me an email, sign up for the workshop and or the one-on-one meeting with us, the discovery call. And we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks again and take care.